Welcome, Hunter Biden, to the Bureau of Prisons, the BOP. You will now have assigned an inmate number.
Whoa, this is great news, right? I mean, justice has been served. Hunter Biden's going to plead guilty. You know what that means? He's going to be in jail for a very long time. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys all being here. Welcome to the channel Modern Renaissance Man. I am Ty Smith. I thank you all for taking time out of your day or your evening to view my content. If you do like the content that I do push out, make sure you follow me on the platforms you see above here and the ones below right here, all right? Last but not least, double check to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, all right? Did I tell y'all to click that yet, by the way? I messed that up. I've been doing this 100 times. I don't know how I messed that up, but you know what to do. When you know what the thumbs up button does, right? How it keeps my content consistently being recommended to you, yada, yada, peanut butter. Yeah. Anyway, this has been some breaking news that has come out and supposedly it surprised the prosecutors themselves. Hunter Biden is going to plead guilty. To what? The taxes? Is it going to be the guns? Is it going to be the child porn? I mean, I'm messing with y'all with the child porn part, which I cannot confirm nor deny that, but still, Hunter Biden is going to plead guilty, and it just took the world. Nah, not really. Yeah, this took a little bit of the nation by storm. What? This is great news. You guys know what this means? But you know what? Before I get even deep into it, because y'all know how I'm just going to be completely, totally open and real with y'all when it comes to this, you watch this first.
Jonathan Hunt is in Los Angeles. We'll start with him for the very latest and go right to John Yoo for his reaction. Jonathan.
Harris, first of all, I am so happy that you have John Yoo, one of my favorite people in the world, on the couch there today, because this seems complex. The first indication we got this morning that this might be an unusual day was the fact that Hunter Biden, for the first time during any of these hearings that he has been present at this downtown LA courthouse, arrived publicly. Instead of being driven into the underground garage as he has every other time that I have been here, he arrived out front today and walked into the court. He was with his wife, Melissa, flanked by Abby Lowell, one of his lead attorneys. So then we thought, what's going on here? This is extremely unusual. And then just about 10 minutes ago, we got word that he has decided, Hunter Biden, to change his plea on those 9 tax evasion charges, 3 of which, as you rightly point out, are felonies, to guilty. Now, as we understand it, and this is where the expertise of John Yoo will be so valuable, this is what is called an Alford plea, where the person accused of the crimes admits guilt, but yet at the same time asserts their innocence. To a layperson like me, and I'm sure most of our viewers, that sounds completely contradictory, but John will explain exactly how that works. One other thing we understand, Harris, is that it has to go up the chain at the DOJ, possibly all the way up to Attorney General Merrick Garland for approval. But all of the details apparently are now being worked out. Court is in recess here until 11 a.m. local time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern. And one very important fact I think we should point out here is that the lead prosecutor in this, when they were told that the guilty plea was being entered, they said, quote, "This is the first we are hearing of this." So apparently there was no effort to make a deal beforehand. Hunter Biden's team just decided unilaterally that they would change the plea to guilty. So I'm going to hand it back to you and the invaluable John Yoo to break that all down, Harris.
Your introduction of John was so much better than mine. Jonathan Hunt, thank you so much. So, John, first of all, I just want to get, your initial reaction to all of this. I don't think it's a shocker. I don't believe that those attorneys wouldn't have even thought that it was possible. There were some things that were different today, like he showed up.
I'm actually surprised because it looked like they were going to go to trial.
Really?
Yeah, it looked like Hunter was going to go to trial, try his luck before a jury, because he wasn't willing to plead guilty. Usually the Justice Department will offer you a pretty sweet deal if you plead, but if you go to trial, they'll throw the book at you and go for maximum sentences. But this is in a political context now where lawfare has become one of the important issues. This is a case where at the same time, on this very day, the special counsel is going after Trump, all guns blazing, despite being smacked back as hard as you could be by the Supreme Court. And then on the other hand, you're going to see Hunter Biden maybe get a very sweet plea deal from the very same Justice Department. And so I think this is all an effort to remove lawfare as a political issue by the Biden-Harris administration.
Let me talk about the potential for plea deals and sweetheart deals, because he's already seen that fall apart, at least in one case with his gun trial. What could it look like now? Those 17 years potentially would become what?
I think you could see 1 to 3 years. I would be
Wow.
very surprised if the Justice Department let him get away with no time served at all. We're talking about someone who didn't pay $1 million in taxes. Plus, remember, and you mentioned Hunter, the sweet plea deal he almost got for the gun charge, tried to get Hunter off of all charges for everything he ever did in his life. So remember, there's another $20 million that whistleblowers from the IRS say came in from foreign sources into Hunter. He still could be investigated for being a foreign agent. There's lots of things he could still be investigated for.
Yeah, and that door was open, too, on the foreign agency.
Yeah, that is all still possible under whoever wins the next election. But that's why I think he might be, in a way, as Jonathan said, and thanks again, Jonathan, for the wonderful thing. Really this is my first time
He's
on the show, and he put all this pressure on me.
Right. You know what, though? And when I question about how surprised you'd be with, nothing surprises me about this man. And Kaylee, we were talking about it off campus, or off camera, rather. This guy has an ability to what?
Yeah, to stun.
Remember and stunt.
Remember when he didn't show up for his Capitol Hill appearance? We didn't think he was, and then he randomly showed up, and it was this big media extravaganza. And
with the documentary crew and the whole thing, yeah.
That's why I'm really stunned by today, and Professor, maybe you have thoughts on this. He just randomly decides to change his plea, and we just heard Jonathan Hunt say this was a unilateral decision. It seems like a bold one. When you have failure to pay taxes in 16, 17, 18, failure to file in 17, 18, I imagine your lawyers would have sat before you and said, you are going to get charged and you're going to get the book thrown at you. You need to do something here. Why today make that change unilaterally? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is Hunter. This just shows you how mercurial and unpredictable Hunter is. He's not listening to his lawyers. He's not listening to his lawyers. His lawyers would have said, get a plea deal early, never go to trial, and then offer up something in exchange for a short amount of jail time. That's the best he could possibly do now.
Yeah, but this is spectacle, and he's got a documentary to film, reportedly.
100%. I'm just sitting here nodding, listening to all of your wise input, and it's great to be with you in person, John, as well. Hunter loves drama.
Yeah.
He's been doing this to his family his whole life.
Oh, wow.
He thrives on this. And I don't know if he woke up this morning or if he planned this a few weeks ago, but he may have listened to the same legal podcast I listened to the other day, which basically said he's going to be convicted. And, he had a terrible case here. My guess, having covered this, is that he, has been pushing back. I'm not settling. I'm not looking for a deal. I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty. And then he realized that he is likely to get a very long sentence. And so when it's a choice between a very long sentence and a shorter sentence, but you're talking jail time, I think he probably decided he would go with the shorter sentence in this environment. He also has the potential to be commuted by his father in this case, who said clearly that he wouldn't do that. He's now in a different boat. He's not running for president anymore. We know how much he loves his son. We know from reporting that there was a tremendous amount of stress on the current president over this issue, that he worries about his son. I mean, the poor man has been worrying about his son for how many years now with all of these issues that he has dealt with over the course of his life. So I think that there's drama, there's a hope of a shorter sentence, potentially a commuted sentence, and maybe some leniency in these other cases if he comes forward and says, look, I just want to pay, I've paid what I owe, and now I want to do my time.
So, let's talk a little bit, if we can, Emily, about commutation versus pardon. And if any of this could happen quickly, you do get a talking point that's taken away before that debate. I mean, it wouldn't be convicted felon who's, going to jail on these charges. We don't know about the gun case yet, but...
Right. Look, I don't foresee a pardon. I think it would be important for President Biden to maintain, at least publicly, that he believes in taking responsibility for one's actions. A commutation would be far more likely. I want to point out for everyone, I've spent dozens and dozens, likely hundreds of hours in minimum security detention facilities with inmates, and the longest sentences among that group are ones who went to trial for tax evasion because everyone hates paying taxes, but people hate more the guys that didn't pay them, because we all have to pay ours, right? So the ones who have those sort of tolerable sentences are those that took the plea. And to me, the duration it has taken Hunter to accept that plea speaks to his hubris. I'm sure he thought somehow Daddy would get him out, or that somehow he would escape responsibility as he has his entire life. But up until the 11th hour, when, as you know, that's when these defendants really start sweating, when they understand what is facing them indeed down the pike, that he said, fine. I'm surprised by the Alford plea that is usually reserved for truly, more physical criminal crimes.
Yeah.
It usually is used in death penalty avoidance cases. I've seen it also with inmates who are obviously innocent, who now the DA says, well, look, we'll retry it, and they say, just get me out. So essentially they take an Alford plea, they say, fine, I'm taking the guilty plea because it allows me to accept freedom, to get freedom right now. I've never seen some type of, privileged cush tax evasion defendant get to have an Alford plea, but it doesn't matter. On the record and everywhere else, and for sentencing purposes, an Alford plea is the same as an actual plea of guilt. It, I think, enables him to just save face at his cocktail parties. And final point, thanks to President Trump and the First Step Act, that means that after a certain amount, you are eligible for a much greater reduced sentence in the form of the volume of days than you were in the past, number one. And number two, you have to have a minimum sentence that triggers, prior to the First Step Act, your eligibility for those sentence reductions. So I foresee that he at least gets 24 months and 1 day, because that will trigger his eligibility to be able to be released sooner and to be able to participate in those prison programs. So there's a lot of math and logistics now involved, but welcome, Hunter Biden, to the Bureau of Prisons, the BOP. You will now have assigned an inmate number.
Okay, so you seen that, you heard all that, and in the end, when she said Hunter Biden is going to be issued a prison number, I don't think he's going to go to prison. I barely think he's even going to go to jail. Now, when I tell you guys the games that the Democrats like to play, throwing out all this Black Lives Matter and all this, oh, white privilege, the white man is bad, the straight white men are the worst, and oh, the white man, the white power, the white supremacy, DEI needs to be implemented into everything. I'm going to ask a question here. We don't know what Hunter Biden is going to get, but I'm going to make an assumption, an educated guess. He's not going to, I know the guy said 1 to 3 years. I don't think he's going to get that long at all. I think he can possibly be pardoned somehow, some way. Joe Biden, whoever's working behind Joe Biden, is going to bail him out. They might do something where he's going to have to be like on some sort of like extended special house arrest. I don't know. As far as prison, I don't think he's going to go to prison. Jail, maybe go to jail for 1 to 3 years. Let's keep it at the 1. If that, he's going to be on good behavior, blah, 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 and he's going to get out. Now, the reason why I mentioned all the DEI, the BLM, the old white privilege stuff like that, let's see if you guys are going to do that. What do you mean by that, Ty? Wesley Snipes. Oh, yeah. You heard me right. Look up. I'm not going to give you all the details. Wesley Snipes. Look what happened to him for tax evasion. Look what happened to him when he didn't pay his taxes. Look what happened. Now, again, I'm only making the assumption here because Wesley Snipes, he ain't just black. That brother, black. Like, he black. Like, he black. I'm not talking about race. I'm not talking about ethnicity speaking. I'm talking about like skin. That Negro black. So I wonder if the same people who push all the straight white men, white privilege, oh, white privilege, are y'all going to take what's going to happen to Hunter Biden and compare it to other people that it's happened to? Oh, man, see, why you got to be? Yeah, I'm doing that. See, I'm different than everybody else. I'm going to hit you back with the same stuff you use. Just like I told y'all, it irritates my wife. When we go to a grocery store and there is a sign that says parking for expecting mothers, I park in that spot. Yes, my wife's like, oh, God, please. I'm like, I'm parking that spot. You want to know why? I'm going to identify as a pregnant woman. Since nobody knows what a woman is or anything like that, and since men can have babies, I'm parking there as an expecting mother. What can anybody say to me? Well, who are you to tell me? Well, see, that's the thing. I'm going to play the same games on you. So again, he's not that he was found guilty, I guess, even though we would have hoped that would have been a verdict anyway, but he's going to plead guilty to it. But let's see what's going to happen to him once those charges come. That's what I'm waiting on. So to me, this is not no victory. This is not oh, wow, because you can't say justice was served because justice didn't make the verdict. He's coming out pleading guilty himself. Let's see what happens when the ruling comes. Then we can talk about it. And let's see. I hope y'all ready. I hope there's going to be some folks out there see the system. See what I want to see if y'all going to do it when it comes to the Democrats. Yeah, I'll wait. Anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think of this by doing this right here. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and leave a comment there. Get into those cell phones. If you know anybody that would benefit from this channel and would like to see the content that I put out on this channel, encourage them to subscribe to this channel. I will see you guys on the next one, all right? I am Ty Smith, Model Renaissance Man, and I hope and pray that every last one of you have food, shelter, and clothing. And most of all, I pray every last one of you guys are in great health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. God bless you all through Jesus.